Welcome back to the College Football Championship Week betting locks and predictions, and let's get right into it with a recap of last week. It was an up and down week for sure. We started on Thanksgiving night. Tulane loses to Memphis to all but take them out of the college football playoff race there, in a pretty shocking one. I had Tulane winning, and knowing all the stakes, it is a shocking result there. Then Egg Bowl, Ole Miss takes care of Mississippi State, does not cover though. Ole Miss wins by 12 in that one. Georgia Tech, Georgia, what a game, going to 8 overtimes. Georgia Tech probably should have won. A interesting targeting call late in that one for sure. And the overtime format gets picked upon by many with all the timeouts and the 2-point conversions in that one. But Georgia stays alive there. They would have been in the SEC championship with a chance either way, but now they can probably lose that game and still make it in. So they are probably a lock there. Michigan, Ohio State, the absolute upset of the week. An insane one here. Ohio State falls, will not be in the Big Ten championship. From number 2, they probably won't fall enough to leave the playoff, but internal tumult there for sure. Probably shouldn't have a home game. Michigan now 4-0 in their last 4. Just a sweet ending for Michigan there, and they still have the bowl game to play for, but this one means a lot more to them than that. Winning 4 times in a row against an Ohio State team under Ryan Day that just hasn't been able to win in this rivalry. And then we had Tennessee-Vandy, the Tennessee rivalry there. I had Vanderbilt winning. Tennessee runs away with it after an early 14-0 Vanderbilt start in that one. Tennessee ends up taking it there. South Carolina, we had going on the road and beating Clemson, and that's exactly what happens. Very exciting game there, and I would encourage you all to watch the highlight if you haven't yet. And then we had Boston College -3 in the hook, gets it done against Pitt at home. The betting locks weren't so fortunate on this page, though. USC fails to cover the 7 in the hook in what is a pretty bad beat here. 2 back-to-back pick sixes go against them in that one, and a late score is not enough against a Notre Dame team that has just dominated this season ever since that NIU loss that people aren't really even talking about anymore. Notre Dame probably a lock to be either the 5 or 6 seed here. I think they'll probably be the 5 and hosting a game despite not playing in a conference there. Then Auburn, Alabama. Alabama takes that one down easily. And then Miami at Syracuse. I actually had Syracuse winning going into the week, and they end up getting it done after the 21-0 deficit turns into a win. Miami's defense awful as always, but the offense, I was surprised, couldn't get it done in that one, and the conference didn't come to their rescue early enough in that one there. Ultimately, this could have been a 4-loss season for Miami, but Syracuse gets it done in that one there. And then West Virginia just absolutely gets demolished by Texas Tech. Horrible lock there. Texas A&M, the 2-unit lock +6. And this one was just unfortunate. We backed Texas A&M in a couple big-time spots at home against Notre Dame, and now at home against Texas off the bounce back, and they end up losing 2 in a row to end their season. Unfortunate one for Texas A&M there, but they just were not as good of a team as I thought going into the football game. Finally, Iowa State earns their first 10-win season in program history with a win in Farmageddon. So that brings us to the significant games in this conference championship weekend. UNLV Boise State, probably a play-in for the playoff here in the blue turf in Boise. And UNLV lost this one the first time at home. I like UNLV to win this game. Spread's only about 3.5, factoring in all the home field that should deservedly be there for this game. I think UNLV has turned into the better team. Teams are starting to figure out Janty and Madsen has not been enough. I like this UNLV squad on their second string quarterback, and I like the story here. UNLV on the road. No one really expects them to win, and Boise State kind of the shoe-in for that first round bye. An insane season for them at 11-1, only lost by 3 to Oregon. But I like UNLV to end it here. I do kind of hope that Boise State wins this game, but UNLV has just been the far better team down the stretch of the season. A lot of people don't remember that, and a lot of people don't watch these games. I have a bad feeling that UNLV will win this football game, so I'm going to predict them to do so. Another road team, I've got Tulane avenging their recent loss and going into Army and getting that win there. Army's still at 10-1 with the Navy game next week. Not even sure what happens if they were to make it into the playoff there, but I have Tulane getting it done anyways in that one. Then Clemson against SMU, ACC Championship. SMU favored by 3 in some spots in this football game, which is insane to think preseason, although I will tout that I did have SMU as the 4 seed in my college football playoff, although against a Virginia Tech team in the ACC championship just by virtue of the schedule. But this season has been better than I could have imagined for SMU here at 11-1. I had them at least losing a conference game, but they decided to just take it all on and win out after that early loss to BYU. All back SMU here, even though Clemson is coming off a bounce-back loss. It is possible that SMU remains in the playoff with a close loss here too, but I think they would love to take down the ACC championship here. I think there will be a lot of SMU fans traveling for this one as it is their first year in a major conference there. Iowa State, Arizona State in Arlington, and I like Iowa State. I think Arizona State has run a little too far, a little too hot. 18 versus 16, kind of a brawl here. These teams would not ever sniff an old playoff spot, but now one of them should get in regardless, and I like that to be Iowa State here. I think they're just the better team. Arizona State, great story, but Iowa State, I think, has been better, and I have them rated better throughout the majority of the season. Final 2 games, we've got 2 betting locks here, but I'm going to need a better number. Georgia, I like them +3 if you can ever find that number, maybe closer to game time. Everyone will be laying into Texas here, although Georgia did win this game earlier in the season at Texas. Maybe Georgia will have a little point of the power rating here for the home field, as always, but you've got to think that Texas fans will be out and about, given it is their first season in the SEC. Regardless, I like Georgia in the bounce-back spot here. Need I remind you, last year in Atlanta, Alabama, coming off a close win against Auburn in the Iron Bowl, takes down a Georgia team that looked insurmountable. So I think we have the same thing happening here again in the SEC championship. Georgia Tech definitely got Georgia's attention. Then finally, Penn State against Oregon, and I've seen a lot of takes on this game. Was not one that we were expecting going into the season, but I think Oregon is the far better team here. You could argue that Ohio State was due to get exposed. They'd played close to Penn State, had been close to Nebraska in the past. Obviously, the Michigan game was shocking, but I think Penn State also kind of due for one here. Almost lost at Minnesota and at USC. I think Oregon is the far better team, and I like them to win it. We would like 3 or less from them in that one in order to take it. So keep an eye out for that throughout the remainder of the week. Thank you for watching. Please be sure to like and subscribe and comment your predictions below.